Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with another song on Mutant Monday, and you may have noticed there wasn't we didn't have a Mutant Monday video last week. Well, that's because what we would have covered on last week's Mutant Monday wasn't released until this past Wednesday. So we've got our and what we would have normally been covering this week was also released this past Wednesday. So bit of a double feature. Kicking things off, we've got 10 Lives of Wolverine, number 4. So, the big story point was that at the end of 10 Lives number 3, in the Columbia art timeline, Wolverine had made it to where Xavier was speaking, but neither Wolverine or Jean's astral form could find Omega Red because Omega Red had possessed Wolverine. So this issue, however, does not begin with picking up directly from that. Instead, we start up back during the Weapon X days. Dr. Cornelius is studying Wolverine's blood and discovers symbiote matter in there. But then Omega Red possesses Dr. Cornelius, and modern day Logan possesses Weapon X Logan. But Cornelius decides that but Omega Red has decided he's going to try and prevent Wolverine from ever having been a thorn in his side, and so he's going to kill him right there in Weapon X Lab, sending a massive jolt of electricity through him. Which, yeah, another point. Da, da, da. Does it list the World War II one? World War II Pacific, where a Captain Kenji Oyama boards a Japanese plane and it goes after a U.S. Aircraft carrier, being ordered to fly like a divine wind. Now, one thing to note is the good captain's last name, Oyama. This is an ancestor of Lady Deathstrike. I believe it's stated later in the issue that he's her grandfather. But I think that I think Xavier's father is on the aircraft carrier. But Logan comes in a Canadian fighter and stops it. We have a second conversation between Xavier and Jean, basically talking about the various how just Logan's modern day essence being in the past, and the actions of fighting someone possessed by Omega Red could impact the timeline. Xavier becomes thinking of a car driven by a family of four slides through an icy intersection and gets totaled by a semi. People will want to look for an immediate cause to blame: the weather, speed, careless driving. But there are in fact an uncountable number of factors that led to that troubled moment. But the conclusion basically being that once they're gone, Jean should basically drop a psychic suggestion and kind of make everyone forget what they saw for the last hour. In Columbia, Wolverine, possessed by Omega Red, moves to attack Xavier, but Sabretooth, who had a bee's dropped on his head, has tracked down Wolverine, and the two of them fought. Though he notices that Wolverine's looking a little bit different. Doesn't matter though; he's still got no problem trying to kill him. In the back with Weapon X, turns out that the symbiote matter inside Wolverine has been exacerbated by the electric current, and a symbiote-possessed Wolverine attacks the Omega Red-possessed Dr. Cornelius. Logan's also thinking about the consequences. Wondering if maybe shooting down Captain Oyama during World War II may have kind of set into motion, to a degree, the creation of Lady Deathstrike. But before Xavier is killed by Wolverine, hilariously enough, Sabretooth saves Xavier by wanting to take Wolverine down. As Xavier is being taken to his chopper, however, he notes that one of the men seems to be somewhat familiar to him. Like I mentioned, that consequences are something that Wolverine is thinking about quite a bit. The idea that perhaps by attacking Cornelius, all venomed out, and the fact that Omega Red left Cornelius, that may be what led Cornelius to say, okay, well, we're going to pump him full of adamantium. That should get rid of whatever that was. But it's like, because of him being controlled in the mission in Columbia, him replacing himself in the mission in Columbia, he gets sent back for brainwashing, which leads to further experimentation, which leads to the symbiote attack on Cornelius, which then leads to the adamantium. The attack on Kenji Oyama leads to Lady Deathstrike having more of a, basically the desire to take Logan down, the desire of the Oyama family to take Logan down. But Sabretooth manages to subdue Logan, and Jean is having trouble reaching Logan in the time stream. And so Charles tries to contact him, which leads to, and Wolverine has now been possessed by Omega Red in the present, and he stabs Xavier through the shoulder. And that is where the issue ends with a quote from the Omega Wolverine: "The past ain't dead. The past is death." Interesting, though, there are still some points in time that they're being hinted at happening, but aren't being shown yet. Old West, Department H days in the first appearance Wolverine costume, World War I, and I mean, I think the next issue is the finale, so they better, yeah. But anyway, moving on to what's next, we've got 10 Deaths of Wolverine #4. where we had left off, the Omega Wolverine was stopped at the had been stopped by Wolverine's children, and they realized that while they fought him, Dakin noted that it wasn't an imposter, wasn't something made to look like Wolverine. It was Wolverine. And he reveals to Dakin, Laura, and Gabby that they all die. And then, meanwhile, Moira McTaggart has allied herself with Arnold Schachendar, a tech CEO from a Silicon Valley CEO type. And with his help, she means to save the world. So the issue begins, however, in the not too distant future. In fact, the near future, Brett says. In Forge's armory, Forge gives Wolverine a small seed. Stating that said seed should allow Logan to gateway through time. Should, though. No real-time to beta test. But Forge gouges out Wolverine's eye and sticks the seed in the empty socket just before Sentinels rip open the armory. And then in the far future, a Phalanx-controlled Moira McTaggart has severely damaged Logan, and basically walks away. Very easy one to die. But Logan cuts out his eye, and digs the seed out, plants it right quick, and it grows around. And it promptly grows around him as the Phalanx take over the Earth. In the present, Omega Wolverine, as well as Dakin, Wolverine, and Scout, have arrived at Arnold Schachendar's private compound north of San Francisco, where he had met Moira McTaggart. They show up, and Schachendar informs them that Moira's already gone. We also have a speech from Moira. People always talk about the future as if it's bright, promising, limitless. Because people, whether human or mutant, are in denial of their mortal coil. The only thing you can count on is the last gulp of air you took into your lungs and whatever you're holding in your hand. If there's one certainty to the act of the universe, or to the arc of the universe, it's this: the future is death. The second law of thermodynamics teaches us this. My own lives have shown me this. Unless we escape physics, unless we escape biology, unless consciousness is not yoked to the physical world, that will fall to ruin. I'm talking about a digital cerebrum, the brain net, the potentiality of the phalanx. Therein lies the ultimate power of immortality. Which honestly makes Moira a lot scarier. Not only was she planning to try to cure mutants again, but also she is all for bringing about the Phalanx. So Wolverine and his kids interrogate Schachendar. Mainly wanting to know where Moira went. They do manage to get the information out of him that she went to Krakoa. And but before that, Wolverine gives Schachendar some information. Introduces his son, Dakin, and states that he dies quickly in an energy beam from a Sentinel. Then his daughter, Scout, who gets depowered by Nimrod and ripped in half. Then his daughter Laura, Wolverine, explaining that she's tortured and experimented on for years as the Homo novissima harbors her skin and organs. And Wolverine asks if Chagger sees them, his family. And so Wolverine says that, it's not just mutants that die, it's humans. They're all gobbled up in the end by what he's making there. And Moira's the one who taught him the recipe. And he makes a promise that on the graves of his children that he won't kill Chagger if Chagger simply tells Logan where Moira is. And he does. And Logan keeps his promise and basically turns the tech genius into a gibbering idiot. We then get a entry from the Sage's logbook, an audio recon. Vocal tag is Moira McTaggart. Having a meeting with Banshee, who's surprised she's alive, which makes sense. At the end of Inferno, it was stated that the Quiet Council was all informed of Moira's mutant status, and presumably also her depowering, but not Krakoa at large. But she asked told Banshee something. I'm not sure if she told him the truth about her, or it could be that she has cancer. But either way, it's a lot to process. And she says that the simple version is the good news is she's back. The bad news is she's already dead. And she asked Banshee to help her. Of course he will, And she asked him if he'll help her get to the island. Right now. Well, he does. Unwillingly. As Moira has apparently skinned Banshee and made a Banshee skin suit to use the gates. At the hatchery, Destiny is awaiting the resurrection of Mystique and has a vision of the Omega Red possessed Wolverine stabbing Xavier, and Moira as a Phalanx drone. But Moira makes it to the armory. Grabs his neutralizer gun. But Xavier contacts Moira psychically, explaining that, but Ford shows up and tells her that if she uses the neutralizer gun on herself, nothing will happen. But Destiny also shows up, and Ford states that he made sure that it wouldn't be able to undo what it's done, because Destiny knew that Moira would be back and told him. So she shoots Ford with the neutralizer gun, and then jumps into one of the Floronic mech suits he's made to go out to assault Krakoa, stating that she plans to burn the island to the ground down and dance with the ashes. And but before she can kill Destiny again, Omega Wolverine shows up and stabs her. But before she can die, or before death comes to her, Moira shoots Omega Wolverine with the neutralizer gun. And Moira dies in the armor, and Wolverine says that with Omega Wolverine spends the testing without his healing factor, the Phalanx will take over. And it does. And the issue ends with Omega Wolverine becoming a Phalanx drone and standing over Moira's body. Yeah, no quote. Okay. I stand by what I've been saying about how 10 deaths feels like a much bigger story than 10 lives. But it's neat seeing the Phalanx back. The biggest Phalanx story I recall was the Phalanx Covenant from 94, maybe 94. Sounds about right. And there have been Phalanx stories since then. That was kind of the big stories. It hit all. Hell, it was the first X-Men crossover that actually included solo character books, as both Wolverine and Cable solo titles were involved. Though admittedly their involvement was one issue each that was a storyline in and of it connected to each other. But anyway, that's going to do it for now. Got a decent line of videos this week. Hopefully soon we'll have an unboxing, or maybe even two. We'll see. We'll see what we can pull off maybe in the middle of the week or so. But anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.